What's going on, Mets fans? We're back tonight with an
Woo!
actual pregame after the New York Mets sweep the Colorado Rockies. No surprise there, but it was a must as the Rockies defeat the Miami Marlins today to get their, I believe, 10th victory of the season. The rest of the division is off. We come off this awesome homestand, Dan. One game up on the Phillies. Not a lot of people saw that coming, but let's not forget the Phillies were able to play the Rockies, I believe, 7 times early on throughout the season to fatten up on their schedule. So we reciprocated that favor. We have a 4-game series with the Dodgers coming up before heading into Colorado for a short series there, then to Washington before coming back home. So we got a big series coming up. These next 4 games, I will love a split. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit out there and say we're going to win 3 of 4. But when I look at it, a split of this series, you face the crappy Rockies. Hopefully you sweep them again. The Nationals appear to be rallying as they surpass the Atlanta Braves of all teams in the standings as the Braves continue to sputter and can't get out of their own way. But I'm not going to cry here as a Mets fan. We just need to worry about ourselves. We got to see Juan Soto, and I was there. I was sitting on the party deck. Shout out to Pat Dunn, my partner over at JetCast and at East End Media. Got us our tickets with the East Islip Fire Department out there. Soto hit it right to our left. And shout out to Brandon Nimmo, who threw my boy Pat a ball. We post that over on X. I got to see Juan Soto hit a home run that day. We shellacked the hell out of the Rockies. Then you saw him again, Dan, yesterday. Another home run by Soto, as hopefully this is a thing, we're seeing of things to come, but I'm going to tell you why very shortly after Dan goes with his little intro, why I'm not totally sold that Juan Soto is here just yet.
Yeah, good to be with everybody. Happy first game of this Dodger series. It's going to be a bloodbath, and you said it perfectly. I think a sweep is probably the limit, in terms of what we can hope for, and then anything above that is just exceeding expectation. Took 2 out of 3 when it was back in New York. This Mets team is pitching very well. They're hitting, coming around. Soto, Pete, Lindor, all great signs, all great. And it was great seats you had yesterday too, right? Definitely. Real quick, just throwing this in there. Yeah, Nick's season over. It's tough, but it is what it is. But real quick.
Sorry, I had to do it. I know you had great coverage down there. Very jealous. I wish I could cover my teams like that, but hey, you can't win them all. You got to give credit where credit's due.
And Blackburn is going to start tonight for the New York Mets, his first start as a Met this year. So I don't know what to expect. I've seen a lot of people saying we're going to throw this game already. Don't even watch tonight. Blackburn's pitching. Guys, you got to believe. Let's go. Let's sweep the Dodgers. Let's go, right?
Yeah, you never know. And you know what's interesting? You don't know what's going to happen with Blackburn. I think it's 1 or 2. I don't think he's going 5 and giving up 1 or 2. I think he's either going to go 6 and give up 1, or he's going to get absolutely shellacked. One or the other. But this offense of ours is finally starting to wake up, and I don't want to get too overzealous when it comes to Juan Soto, as I need to see it for a full week and a half, 2 weeks before I'm really buying it. Let's be honest. The Rockies are on pace to have one of the worst ERAs in the history of baseball. And that's why I want to cool it off, as I see Soto, even while I was there, you see him hit the home run right into the party deck. And then he rolls over into a ground ball in a big spot, but the game was already in hand. I want to be able to see him sit back and start taking the ball the opposite way. That's when you know he's right. Pete looks like he's coming back along. Lindor heats up all of a sudden. And I want to say this, Mets fans, it's our responsibility. This is our duty as Met fans. We need, it's not an option. We need to vote Francisco Lindor into the All-Star game this year. I know people, All-Star games don't really mean anything, but he has worked his ass off the last few years, been here through the downs and the ups, and has never been able to represent in an All-Star game for us. And he deserves it, as he's had slow starts throughout the years. We all know about that, but this year more than ever, he deserves it. Now, Dan, we can kind of get into the lineup tonight a little bit, and I see a couple people in the comments. Shout out to Ian Klub.
Yeah.
I see Gerardo in there, Alfred. I see a lot of you guys in the comments. We'll get to you in just 1 minute, but I want to look into this lineup really quickly because I can't say I'm not happy with the lineup, but sometimes I don't understand the thinking, and obviously, I'm no manager, so who am I to be saying anything? But that's why we have our podcast. Let's take a peek at tonight's starting lineup really quickly. Let me tinker with this a little bit. Here we go. So tonight's starting lineup, you have Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Alonso, Jared Young, Brett Baty, Tyrone Taylor, McNeil, Alvarez. I'm a little surprised McNeil's hitting below or not swapped out with Baty, considering Baty, he's cooled off a little bit as of late. McNeil, he's been swinging a good bat, but Dan, maybe you could explain it to me. What is this obsession with getting Jared Young in the lineup here? It's like the guy came out of nowhere from AAA, and he's constantly hitting 5th or 6th in this order in prime RBI spots. And outside of the home run, he really hasn't done much.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the lefty bats. And you think about it, the Mets always needed a lefty bat, and DH was always such a problem for so long. Now we have Winker in the mix, and Winker should be back before too long. And we have Nimmo and McNeil and Soto, of course, the premier lefty on this team. But we have a lot of lefties, and that's not even mentioning Brett Baty. And it really speaks to where Jared Young is, and he barrels up the ball, like you said. That's number one. That's why he's here. He's DHing because Winker is still on the IL. That's number 2. And 3, that's a pretty good swing. And he showed a little bit in spring training. That was always the thought, that he could play first base, be a backup guy there. He could play around the infield a little bit. He's earning his spot. I can't guarantee it's going to be for even much longer at this point, Ray, between you and I, because pieces are coming back for the Mets. Like, it is officially summer now. Well, soon. Summer solstice is a couple of weeks away, but
it's June, man.
It's June, right? The weather's warm. It feels like summer. The Mets are rolling. Players are going to be coming back, and Jared Young probably out of the equation. But hey, he's getting the start tonight. He's DHing, and we'll see how it goes.
One thing I'm looking forward to see, and I don't have the numbers pulled up, shame on me. I want to see how Nimmo's been doing in the 2-hole. You look at this lineup, he's back in the 2-hole. Looks like he's been pretty successful. It looks like he's got a little bit better eye at the plate. Maybe it's that Soto protection behind him. So this move from Soto from 2 to 3 might be benefiting him in the long run. But Mark Vientos has been on and off a lot lately. It seemed like he was going to be a lock to be this team's DH/third baseman. But once again, over the weekend, Brett Baty continues to play gold glove level third base. And it's amazing the transformation. I spoke to a couple Mets beat reporters over the weekend. Shout out to a couple of you guys who I ran into just about Brett Baty and his transformation. And they spoke about it on the broadcast a little bit. Gary was saying, he doesn't know last time he's seen a transformation defensively the way that they've seen Baty. He looks smooth as anything, throwing on the run, coming in hard on light hit balls, getting to balls in the hole that you typically didn't see him get to last year. So hopefully his offense starts to pick up again. I would like to see his OPS, if anything, be around league average, be around that 760, 770 mark, maybe slightly above league average. He had the triple or misplayed double by the outfielder. I was right there. Believe me, we were giving it to Doyle the rest of the entire game, rightfully so. Doyle, the entire time, but rightfully so. He deserved it. Let's get some of these comments really quick. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, right? Batting second, Nimmo batting second this year. The numbers are unbelievable. 389 average with a 209 WRC plus.
Wow.
What's
his on base? You have his on base?
Let's see. Yeah, give me a sec, Ray.
Sure. While you're looking for that, let me get to Ian really quick. Ian, what's going on, brother? Ray, Dan, Ian here, excited for the West Coast trip. Let's bring it home. Paulie B on the mound. Let's rock. Like our starting matchups for this series. We have a great chance. Also love today's lineup. I'm not opposed to today's lineup. I would like to see Vientos in there instead of Young, because if we're going to give Vientos the benefit of the doubt after what he did for us last year towards the end of the season and in the playoffs, and you're going to say, you know what, this kid has the potential to be our future full-time, I'd rather him DH than not play at all. And I don't want to have a question at the end of this year. What is Mark Vientos? And if you're only giving him part-time play, that would even linger potentially into next season. And I want to have those answers, Dan.
Yeah, no, you're right. And questions are coming and the answers are coming too. Because again, players are coming back. You got to figure this stuff out. And definitely with Young, 450 on base for Nimmo when he bats
See, I
second.
wasn't, my eyes were not deceiving me.
He's unbelievable. Every number just jumps right off the page. That's where he belongs.
I think Nimmo's one of those guys, he picks up the breaking ball pretty well. Usually the fastball beats him, but maybe he's having a sharper eye at the plate with Soto behind him. And I'm not going to say I want to see him steal bases, but listen, let's be honest. If Soto's able to steal probably 20 bags this year, let's be on, he's on that pace this year, if not more. Right. Nimmo should be able to do that as well. It's not necessarily speed. It's reading the pitcher. It's doing all sorts of things like that. And right, really quickly, before I get to Klub's comment, I actually think when Jesse Winker comes back, maybe that's when they'll make the Mauricio move. But I honestly think that, unfortunately, Acuna's days are numbered on this team, at least at the big league level right now. He's really been an absolute zero with the bat.
Sure.
Which I know Met fans killed me last year for saying that, Dan, but I know the run he had last year, but the book's out on him. It just is what it is. He doesn't hit more than a single anyways. Klub says, let's go Mets. I brought my kids to the game yesterday, and they got to run the bases after the game. Great experience. Let's at least split with the Dodgers. I agree. Gerald says, let's go Mets. Alfred, what's up, guys? Hope all is well with you. Is he the captain already? I'm assuming you're saying Lindor. Maybe, just maybe, Wright will pass it on when he retires. That's what I'm kind of getting. You know, Kai says, I would love to see a split with LA. Maybe can catch the Dodgers napping tonight. Maybe. You know, they had a long series this weekend as well. Gabriel says, let's go Mets. And this is a game for Blackburn to reborn or get DFA by tomorrow morning. I think he's getting DFA tomorrow morning regardless. That's just me. I wonder if he has options. I'm not totally sure.
He might have one, right? I don't know. Real quick on Nimmo too, just going back to him, because they asked David Stearns, he met the media this week, and we talked about it a little bit, but he had a really good answer when some reporter asked him about Nimmo, and he's batted 2, and he's batted 5th, and he's batted 4th. He obviously hits for power when or you think of him as a power hitter when he's batting 4 or 5, but then he bats 2 and he's a contact guy. And Stearns answered it perfectly. He said, wherever Nimmo is in the order, you know, he's going to produce, and we have to stop thinking of baseball as the power guys are in the middle of the order and the guys who can move guys over bat second. Baseball is a lot different. Look at the 4-hitter. What is a 4-hitter in baseball today? Mm-hmm. What is a 2-hitter in baseball today? So it was just an interesting perspective from Stearns.
All 3 of the guys homer yesterday, huh?
It's crazy.
I'm also watching these videos today, Dan. Pregame, Juan Soto catching up with his agent, Scott Boras. They're talking about the weather. Soto looks like he's drenched in sweat already. They're going from that cool environment to that hot environment. If it's not humid out, you could see the ball carry. I'm trying to pull up the Dodgers lineup really quick. And we can break that down for, here we go. So you have Ohtani, Hernandez, Freeman, Pages, Muncy, Conforto. I can't believe Conforto's starting for the Dodgers. Edman rushing, and then you have Kim and obviously May as the starting pitcher. So their lineup, it's, you know, after the top 3, it's really not healthy. You know, they're missing their Mookie Betts out there. He's probably going to have an IL stint shortly if I had to take a guess, but it's not like you're facing a full-on Dodger team. Obviously, they have the nod at starting pitcher, but I think this is a winnable, you know, split series, but it starts with tonight. I would love to wake up tomorrow morning, have a game and a half on the Phillies as we can go over the standings really quickly. Posted them this morning. Also, I love to see Soto yesterday post-game giving credit where credit is due to the starting rotation, the pitching staff. Also, you heard Lindor yesterday, Dan, talk about Clay Holmes and the movement on his pitches. And he said, he goes, all I know is I had 3 or 4, I believe, he said, at bats against him earlier in the season. I'm guessing during the spring training, he says he could not touch him. That's how much movement he's got on him.
Clay Holmes has been great. Really, really has. And Blackburn too today. The numbers, Shohei Ohtani, he's 4 for 9 with a home run. But other than that, I think Conforto was 1 for 6 in his career against Blackburn. So overall, nothing too crazy. Dustin May, Pete Alonso has good numbers against him. So watch out for that.
Oh, that's good to know. So we'll get to a couple more comments before we close up. So I got to do one thing before we do go to the game for time. Are you watching the whole game, Dan? You staying up for
Probably, yeah. Hopefully, if we fall asleep in the 9th, we're sitting on the couch, it happens, but we'll do our best to stay up.
I got to be up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So we got this from Lounge. Stats for you since 2021. Lindor, second highest F-WAR in Major League Baseball, only behind Aaron Judge. All-star appearance, 0. He better be an all-star this year. But let's be honest, that's been his own fault. He's gotten off to these atrocious starts. I believe after last April, he was hitting like 181. So it's not like he's off to these red hot starts and fans are just not voting him in. He hasn't been worthy of it outside of this year.
I think that's a jumping off point too, to think about. We all know that the All-Star game is just a popularity contest in every single sport, but Soto's numbers don't scream All-Star, and there's a chance he doesn't get voted in. Like, obviously I think he will, but Lindor will be an All-Star. Pete should be an All-Star. Soto needs to hit a little bit more before he gets into that conversation, but I just think the popularity will get him in the world we live in today.
Ashton says, I got laughed at for saying Clay Holmes would be a really good starter. Before opening day, I had 3 projections. I said Brazoban would turn around this year. Obviously, I didn't know to this extent. I said Brett Beatty would have a breakout season, which regardless of what he's been doing, at least defensively, he's broken out. The bat has come around a little bit. Let's see what it turns out to be. And I said Clay Holmes will end up being on the All-Star team for the Mets. That's probably not going to happen, but no, not a lot of people saw him pitching the way he does. So shout out to you. And then we got this from Red. To speak on Viento's success last season, you should remember he was sent down and came back with a purpose. He may not have options, but he needs a reset. I think he does have it. We've been debating that. I got to find that out before everything. Vientos
has 1, I believe, but you look at Fangraphs, it says he has 0. So I have no idea. Fangraphs, I've learned over the past couple of weeks, like, they're great for the stats, but some of the live stuff that they do, like their pitcher projections, and they had Ben Kasparius pitching it for tomorrow. The probable pitchers for the series, just so everyone's up to date: Blackburn in May tonight, McGill versus Kershaw. They said it was Canning versus Kershaw tomorrow. It's not true. So it'll be McGill versus Kershaw, Canning versus Gonsolin, and then Peterson versus TBD, which could be Kasparius, but we'll see.
Right. And then we'll finish it off with Nick. Nick, guys, what Mets hitter goes deep tonight? I say I'm going the underdog. Jared Young goes deep tonight. He's got the pop, so.
I got my jersey around here. I don't know. I'm going to say Peter Morgan Alonso goes
really
deep.
Going out on a limb there, Dan.
Goes deep tonight.
But that's
maybe Nimmo too.
You got a final comment?
I think that's it. Maybe do a space live tonight. But guys, this was great. We'll probably be back tomorrow or one of these days.
Something like that. Yeah, maybe tomorrow evening. Guys, thanks so much for sticking around. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to give us a thumbs up. Usually we do these post game, so if it's your first time here, take a look out for our post game content. Also, majority of the off days we're on, and we sometimes have guests from around the MLB. Danielle McCartan will be joining us either next off day or the following off day. I know she's a Yankee fan, but she does cover the Mets from a fair perspective, and I would love to see how she's coping with the whole Juan Soto situation and him finally looking like he's going to blossom as a New York Met. But thanks so much for sticking around, and as always, guys, let's go
Mets.
Woo!